I'm not very down.
All right. Let's have a conversation about things. Cause I had some, I wouldn't say panic, but I had some students who were concerned. And I want to remind you, like, I'm on your team. I'm not trying to play gotcha. I want you gone for Discovery Day. I love you, but I don't want you here. So, 314 to 317 are definitely quarter two. I haven't even collected them yet. Guys, everything is quarter two now. So, they should be ready to turn in by Friday. We're going to go over 317 right now, so if you got questions, we should take questions. But if you don't have it to turn in on Friday, that's okay. I have not put any quarter two grades in math yet, because I don't want to confuse people. Sometimes, depending on how the coding of math is written, it'll make it look like you're not eligible for Discovery Day, even though it's a quarter two item, so I wait. So there are still, I believe, 3 of you that owe me 311 to 313. 2 of you, 1 of you owes me 1 assignment. So all of that will land on map this weekend. Okay, so please don't play the game if you're one of those 2 people of like, oh, it's not in map. I don't care about it. If you haven't turned in 311 to 313, you need to, even though it's not in map yet. Friend.
Wait, what is the regular?
The regular is like last night's homework because we're going to check it. Graph paper because we always use it. And if we need a resource page, like we didn't finish one, we might use that as well. But today we don't have like an unfinished resource page. So our regular today is just last night's homework and graph paper. Yeah.
I'm like super behind with homework, so I was focusing on my mastery.
Okay.
And I wasn't here for the past 2 days,
So you turn it in when you're able to turn it in. Yeah, just that's like everything, Phoenix. If it ends up late, still just turn it in when you can turn it in.
That was a close one. Thank you.
Is that your 313?
That is my 313.
There we go. Done now because you focused instead of doodled.
Mr.
Max and I had like a little repartee back and forth of he didn't put his name on his paper, so then he tried to do like an I told you so because I knew it was his because his doodles. And yeah, I ended up winning. I'll jump over the rest of the story, but I won that. So, hey, it's a long year. You can still prove me wrong. Yeah. Excuse me, wrong pipe. I got a bunch of stuff to give you back, but before I do that, we should start talking about our lesson for today. So we are switching gears. Obviously, every time we are in like a section 1, we're in the beginning of a unit. So still chapter 3, but unit 2. So if you want to head your graph paper, because I don't think, yeah, your practice paper for tonight does not have anything from class in it. So your practice paper, like you don't need tonight's practice out. You do need last night's practice out because we're about to check it. I think I forgot that I had put this on your practice paper and we could have used this yesterday. But remember, the stuff you have to do for practice is only what is beneath what says this is your practice work. And notice it says you'll need graph paper. Some of you on one of our previous homeworks that said we would need graph paper chose not to do it on graph paper and like I kind of let it slide. But as we get deeper in the year, like guys, these are instructions, right? Like when it says do it on graph paper, do it on graph paper. Or else it's going to start to become a check minus. So let's look at those answers and then take questions if we have any. 317.
May I ask what the date is?
Today's date?
Yeah.
10/6. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. If it's wrong, you should ask a question about it, probably. But remember, like, I just look at your paper for, like, did you do everything? Did you engage in it? It can be wrong. Now, I might meet with you if it's wrong. Like, I might say, hey, come see me. We should go over that thing. If I call your name, come up here. Grant. Actually, I can probably just walk around and pass these out. Stack of papers.
I'll find the rope.
Trying to decide how to do this in a sensible manner. nothing. Mr. McNeil, breaking one of our rules, you do not turn in homework ahead of time, because then you do not have the ability to check it. Any questions on 65 or 66? On 65 or 66?
Wait, we don't, for, wait, I have to make it for 66, do we have to, like, make whatever?
I hear approximately 4 conversations,
Whatever.
and I'm really hoping
Do we
that
make this? Whenever we have to make this too.
you wouldn't have to make that table, but if we don't know the if we don't know what it is, then it's gonna be tough to like graph it without doing the math. So what Jake's asking is, do I need this table with this graph? No, if you have this graph and it's correct, you calculated this table probably just in your head. But the weird thing is for negative x squared, can I help you? Yeah, sorry, I'm teaching, and literally Max just told us he's behind, so why are you distracting him? You're trying to talk to Max unless I'm going crazy and hearing things that aren't happening. Please don't do that. I'm teaching. Negative x squared flips this parabola over because all of your output values are the opposite of what this number is when squared. So negative 2 when squared is positive 4. However, the opposite of that is negative 4. Yes.
Two questions. What about this problem? Was it okay if we went from -4 to 4? Because I thought we were supposed
That's
to
fine.
always have.
Although negative 4 is going to take you to a value of 16.
Yeah.
And that's kind of high off the graph. So this is one graph where 5 points is probably fine. Like 3 is a minimum. So guys, if you only did 3 points here, it'd be very hard to see what the actual rest of the graph looks like. 5 points is a pretty safe way to go from -2 up to +2. Yeah, I know I advise that 7 is really safe, but it'd be a little hard to fit 7 on our graph potentially. So whatever you did is probably fine. And then you said you have a second question?
Yeah. For 65, it's considered a V shape, right?
I mean,
Or am I going crazy?
it's a little, like this point seems a little messed up. At -3, -2, this seems to mess with the graph. So guys, what we're looking at here, if you're following the directions of 65, it says plot these points, right? We plot these points. Then it says which point doesn't seem to fit the graph. Well, if I try to connect these points, it looks like these are going up, and these, except for that one, the only other point that you could maybe say doesn't fit is if you thought this would go out there, maybe you would have said that point doesn't fit. But no, if we actually look at like symmetry, this is a parabola. This point does not fit the behavior. But that's actually -3, -2. Don't get thrown off by the -4 next to that dot. Yeah.
So, it's okay if you plot it on the points, right?
Yeah, you were supposed to.
Okay.
A says plot and connect the points listed in the table below.
On that, it doesn't do it, and I'm like looking at it like, what?
Yeah, I know. CPM's answers sometimes don't do everything they said, but it's probably because they didn't want to spend the time to make this draw a line. And normally teachers don't show their students the answer key. So I'll just be honest with you guys. I'm weird in that fact of like most of the time kids aren't seeing this. Nevin.
This is total curiosity.
Okay.
Parabola go right with that? Because we know parabola can go up.
That's a very, very good question that I am going to refuse to answer right now. I will, however, show you something that I think a lot of you will probably have fun with. You're not getting on this right now. Well, actually, let's finish checking homework first. So, any questions about 66? Because we're moving on. 67, $30, $6 per hour.
I can't see it. Sorry.
What? Oh, because I wrote on that. Dang it, I forgot I wrote on that. Thanks, Jake. Good catch. I mean, at $6 an hour, I don't know how hard I would work. You gotta pay me a little bit more than that. When I was a lifeguard, I made like $8.75, and I still felt like I was getting underpaid, even though I just sat in a chair and stared at the water all day. Because, you know, I had to be like CPR trained. Yes?
She's $2.80 under minimum wage. For
Well,
all that.
now, this book was written a couple years ago.
How dare?
I know. But if you're a server, this is like we've talked about tipping before. If you're a server, you don't have to get paid minimum wage. How much bullcrap is that? They can pay you $2 an hour.
What?
Because they say you're going to get tips. It's fine.
What if you don't get tips?
Exactly. You
That
like
is screwed.
you can't pay your rent. Or like you can't buy food.
There's no even a waiter.
This is how I feel about that.
Yeah, well, go change this stuff, guys. You have the power. All right, 68, 69. Any questions? 69 is the first one where we see a diamond not using whole numbers. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. That's going to start to happen more.
No! My enemy. We changed. I did for A. I just changed it to decimals.
That's fine.
I have another question.
Yeah.
About 68.
Yeah, that's a great question to lead us into today's lesson.
Wouldn't it be negative x?
Where
Negative at the bottom right
here they divided by -2. So when you divide by -2, it turns -2x into just x. Because -2 divided by -2 is 1, right? And 1x, when you walk in, I don't say, hi, 1, Jake. I just say, hi, Jake. We don't need to say the 1.
I am now so tempted
okay, that's good
today
to
to start calling you like hi one.
That's not what I do too.
And then the rest of the school will be very confused at why everyone started saying the quantity of people. Brenda?
Did you learn 68?
Yes.
The second thing you're supposed to fill out, I said simplify. I didn't do all that extra.
Here, let's look at the actual original paper then. So 68 right here, you said simplify? Yeah, I mean, you're right, but they kind of want the specificness of what we did. So because this is being distributed to both pieces, we would probably say distribute the negative is a more specific way of saying simplify. But I mean, you're not wrong. You're just not all the way to what they would want. But if I was grading your paper, I'd be like, Brenda, what'd you mean here? And you'd be like, they put the negative to both of them. I'd be like, great.
Is it okay that I said they brought them from the upside down?
Sure. I mean, I think literally what they said is flip, right? And like, I wouldn't say this. That is an acceptable answer. But what I would say is distribute the negative. But like, as long as you are describing it in a way that makes sense to you, this is a perfect segue to our lesson today.
Yay!
So, for this activity, I am not going to get out algebra tiles because I really don't think we need to. I think we're good enough that we can just work with what we got up here shown to us. So go ahead, put that homework away if you want. If everything's ready to turn in, you could turn in all the 314 to 317 if you really want. I don't need it till Friday. I'm kind of busy this week and working on revisions with people. So trying to get people mastered. Yeah.
Should I do this and then turn it back?
Yeah, you just bring it to me. If I'm not busy at extensions, you just come show
I'm
it
not
to me.
here during attention.
Yeah, then just tomorrow. It's a practice assignment, so it's not gonna like make your discovery day, like make or break it, because it's just a practice. But yeah, do it, and then we'll get your grade changed to a check. And actually, I think that's quarter 2 anyways, right? Yeah. All right, hold up. Hold on. You don't know what you're supposed to do yet. So on your graph paper, let's all put a header on 3.2.1, solving equations. So I'm going to write it up here with you guys. 3.2.1 on our graph paper. It would probably be good to have a fresh sheet of graph paper out. If it's not, it's okay. And we can abbreviate the word equations with EQS if you want to. Solving equations. When we are solving an equation, and I'm going to be specific about this because some people aren't going all the way. Our first goal is like group like terms, right? We put x's with x's and y's with y's and like numbers with numbers. But our end goal, anyone able to tell us what is our end goal when we are solving an equation? Lily, I think you had the first one up. So is it good enough if I get to a point of like 5x plus 2 equals 12 and then I'm like, oh, well, I mean, I can figure it out. Like, what do I need to do? Well, I was still talking to, because actually I can't divide yet, Lily. So our goal here, and I would like you to write this down, please. Our goal is to isolate, like get together, right? Isolate's a nice math word. Isolate one, and you could write that out like O-N-E if you want. One of the variable, which is often x, but not always. So that's why I'm not going to say x, I'm going to say the variable. You could say isolate one of x if you want, but sometimes it's y, sometimes it's z. So your first task here, with your partner, or partners, or by yourself if you want to be a loner, figure out what is on the left side and what is on the right side, and write that on your paper. Left side equal to right side, because we said these mats with the 2 lines down the middle, they're telling us that they're equal, right? We said this is an equation mat. So go ahead with your team, what is up there, write it how it looks, and then simplify it. Here we go. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. So, I bet you guys are quick enough. You can already tell me this. What do we have on the positive side over here? 4x and 1. And guys, we can say and instead of plus. So you can say plus, but like if we're speaking verbally, most of the time we don't say plus, we say and. And then in the opposite region, what do we have?
-6.
Careful. You're right when we push them up where they're supposed to be. So Jake is saying, well, we really have, and this is not division. Sorry, I just put a line there to fill something in. What we really have on the left side is a 4x and a 1 and a -6. Here's what Jake just said. When we push those up, -6. And on the right side, we have 2x and 3. Now, when we look at an equation, and hopefully you saw this back in your 7th grade math class, what we're thinking of is a balance. And if we get through our lesson, there's a funny Monty Python video that I like to show when we're talking about equations, but only if we get through the lesson. Crap, I should have written that in green probably. So this is where the rule of if we do it to one side, we do it to both sides. Guys, this is balance. They're equal to each other. If I put something on one side and I don't do it on the other side, I broke it. Like, it's no longer equal. So, why I fell in love with math, my wife hates it when I say that, why I fell in love with math was you can do anything you want as long as you do, like, just a certain set of rules, right? Like, you can really do almost anything you want. I could multiply by 1,000 right now. I don't need to, but I could. So, here, now. Okay, anybody who in this past chapter or back in chapter 2 was like upset at feeling like I don't know how to do what he's asking us to do, now I'm going to slowly teach us all the steps. So our first step here is simplify on the left side and simplify on the right side if you can. So, is there any simplification to be done? Yeah, I got one thing I can do.
Add the 1 to the -6.
Yeah. Put these together.
And -5. So now it's 4x plus -5 equals 2x.
Or minus 5. Do that.
Alright. This next, most of these aren't even rules, but my next piece of advice doesn't have to be followed, but I promise you guys, I'm here to make your life easier. I am very happy with my job and I love getting to work with kids. I promise you, I'm here to make your life easier. This is not right versus wrong, but I'm gonna tell you the best way to deal with equations. Okay, you can do it a bunch of different ways. And if you go ask your parents for help or whatever, they might do it a different way, and that's fine. Here's my best advice when we start looking at the variables. When the variables are both positive or both negative. When they're both positive or both negative, get rid of the one closer to 0. So get rid of what can we say? What's a better remove? I guess, yeah, because it's not always going to be subtraction. Be careful. Remove the little one. So the one that is closer to 0. Which of these variables is closer to 0? The 2x. So let's remove that. We subtract 2x to remove it. But if we do it on one side, we got to do it on the other. Now, we rewrite what we have. We do not do multiple steps at a time. We do not skip over things. We rewrite what we now have. Max, you with me? You already done?
I'm listening, yes.
So, which is totally fine.
I'm happy because I finally understand this. It's not gibberish.
2x plus a -5 or -5, however you want to write it, equals, these are gone. Guys, the mistake a lot of kids do is they either forget to actually do the subtraction or forget to actually do the subtraction. You write it and then you forget to do it. So,
That's
3.
really what I just did. And I checked it with Lily and I was like, wait a minute.
I'm telling
Go
you,
over my
I've
answer.
been watching 12-year-olds for 10 years and I know the mistakes you're gonna make. Now, we've got our sides picked out. We've got our teams picked out, right? When it's Red Rover. This is now the variable side, because it's the only side with the variable. So then, put the constant where it needs to go. So, I don't want it over here. I want it over there. How do I do that? Add 5 to both sides. 2x equals... Guys, look up here. Remember when I said I can do anything I want? I can. Totally true. A lot of times, when kids are messing up solving equations, it's because you're thinking, how do I get to 1x? And in your brain, you go back to just subtract an x. You're like, all right, minus. Here are the two common mistakes. Either people subtract an x and they're like, oh, that gets me down to 1x. But guys, if I do this, I now have 8 minus x. Because I subtracted an x. Now I broke it. Yeah, I broke it. The other thing people do by accident is they think that somehow, if you like subtract x, now I have like 2 equals 8, which feels silly, but like this happens, right? Like this is attached, right? It's those x tiles. It's not a 2 and an x, it is 2 x tiles. So what we need to do is split those up, like a few of you have already yelled at me to do, and we divide by 2 because this is multiplication. And x equals 4. Questions? I don't know if we can simplify past x equals 4. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Then, to check that we're right, grab it, plug it back into our original equation. Like original. Original. Because what if I made a mistake in the first step? Go back to your original. If x is 4, this turns into 4 times 4 is 16 plus 1 minus 6. That would give me 11, right? 2 times x is 8 plus 3 is 11. Sweet. We know we're right. Questions?
Wait, does 11 equal 11?
Yeah. Should equal 11, right?
I have the biggest thing for everything.
Hold on. I heard a weight, but I have no idea who it came from. I heard a weight.
He wants to copy your answers.
Well, that's fine, but like, do you have a question about something?
No.
Guys, like, what Gus is asking is great. Sometimes you just want to like look at something again and be like, okay, do I totally make sure what happened? Like, I get it all. So we combined our like terms. Now, guys, here, it's a totally acceptable option to instead subtract 4x. Totally acceptable option. Here's why I'm telling you not to do that.
Then you have negative x.
Then you end up with negative x values.
It makes it really hard.
And then when you go to divide, you end up having to divide by a negative. There's just a lot more opportunity for mistakes. I'm trying to show you there's the trap door, go this way. Right? I'm trying to help you avoid the spikes and pit of snakes and whatever. Hey, Jake is talking. Hey, Jake is talking.
If we did something different for that, is that okay?
If you still get the same answer, there's a lot of ways to get to Florida. There are almost always 4 different correct ways to start these things. There's not right versus wrong as long as you get to the right answer. On your graph paper, write down 2x. Or wait, no, I'm skipping one. We'll start a little first here. 3x minus 2 equals 8. What? Preston solved it and got 100.
Oh.
Preston comes to you and says, I'm pretty sure this is wrong, but I don't know what went wrong. Talk to the group about what steps to do and do this on your paper. Like, write out the Three x minus 2 equals 8. We don't know what x is yet.
Or we could do
I have lost my pen somewhere. Walter! What would our first step be here? Add 2, because the variables are already together, right? There are no extra variables anywhere else. So we can just add 2, and we get 3x equals 10. Guys, I don't know how many times I'm going to have to say this year. There's a better way to write this answer, and there's a not better way to write this answer.
1/3.
Done. If you do this division, you get 3.3 repeating forever, or you could write it as 3 1/3. But which of these is the easiest thing to write? The fraction! Guys, I will admit, true confession, when I was a kid, I thought decimals were the thing. Thought decimals were like better to work with, easier. I can type it in my calculator real quick. Fractions are a lot nicer for messy numbers. So you can write it as 3.3 repeating. You can write it as 3 1/3. I don't care. That's fine. But you could also just be done right here. Because 10 divided by 3 is a fraction. Right? Divisions are fractions. Let's try this again with 2x plus 3 equals, 2x plus 3 minus x equals 3x minus 5. Edwin got the solution of 4. He wants your help figuring out if that's right or not. And improper fractions are allowed, unless they say turn it into improper fractions.
Then add 5 again. Yeah, add 5.
It is, but this is not accurate. It's the best way to write it, but it's not actually 100% accurate. It's like 10/3. Either one would be fine. And if it says decimal, make sure we check with each other, guys. Hey, that's a bad word. I don't care if you say peasy, but I sure care if you say the word that came before that.
Did you say the word? I don't know how to write that.
What?
This is me trying to.
Connor, help me out. What are you going to do first here? Oh, by the way, guys, you probably saw this in 7th grade, or like 7th grade math. You can do a dotted line down the middle to help keep you like left side, right side honest. Sometimes you accidentally will do the same thing twice, like on a side. Like, so if you do a dotted line down your equal sign, it helps keep us honest about left side, right side. So Connor, what do you want to do first? Yeah, simplify x's together. So 2x minus an x. We have x plus 3 equals 3x minus, because nothing happens over here, right? Lily, what would we do next? You might have taken a different route. Okay, that's totally fine. That's why we're doing this, right?
What we should have done is subtracted 1x.
Yeah, guys, give me your eyes. I could, and all of these options are right, I could subtract x from both sides. I could subtract 3 from both sides. I could subtract 3x from both sides. I could add 5 to both sides. Guys, I could even, keep your eyes up here because this is another interesting trapdoor that I'm always kind of surprised by. I could even divide by 3. But we already talked about this earlier. like earlier in the year, it would divide everything by 3 on both sides, and that's not good. That's real bad. So I could, it's not wrong, but it's bad.
It's not bad. It just makes the life harder.
Alright, so if we minus x from both sides, guys, this is where kids will accidentally then just write 3. Because they think, oh, the x takes away the x. No. There are 3 x tiles. We take away 1. That's not as thick. 3 equals how many? 2x minus 5. Yeah, we'll just go class answer because people are already shouting it out. We now add 5. Did you still get 4?
Yeah.
Then you did it right.
I added way too many steps.
Oh, we're not done yet.
Hold on. Deeper question. I got like a Mr. Estes type question. So this is our solution, right? We keep saying this is our solution. And we know solution can mean different words, like solution means something in science and whatever. But like, what is the solution? Like, not x is 4, like that's our solution here. But what does it mean for this to be our solution? Talk with your team really quick. Take like 30 seconds. Then I'll take Max because you had your hand up first. What is a solution? Like when we say x equals 4, what is that? Why? Like why is that our solution?
Dang it!
1 to the 20.
Solving an equation? I love solving equations. It's like, I don't know, I just kind of nerd out with it. Because it's like a nice, I know what to do, right? There's no like question. Anyone want to share their thoughts? I know this is a deep question. Max?
A solution is the result of 2, or it doesn't even have to be 2. No, yeah, it does have to be 2 things, 2 or more things affecting each other in a. No, because it can also be a scientific solution. Oh, God. So it's not just mathematical. That are doing just the mathematical. Are we doing just the mathematical?
Lily, thoughts?
If we're talking about only the mathematical way, then it would be the most simplified an expression or equation can get. Answer to an equation.
Yeah, I mean, everything everyone keeps saying is true.
Answer to equation.
It's true.
The solution is what makes this true. So, my question, because a lot of you, I heard you say this, my question, is there only ever one? Wow, that was a really quick answer. Anyone want to raise their hand and give me an example of when we might have 2 solutions? Aiden?
For example, if you're trying to get x squared equals 1, you can have 1 or -1. I guess raise of 1.
If x equals 1, is this true? Yeah. If x equals -1, is this true?
Yeah.
So here, there are 2 solutions. Anyone remember a situation where we have more than 2 solutions? Jake?
I can get another 2 of 2, but I can't give it.
Ooh, then I'm popping Anna.
Like, this is kind of basic, but like, x squared equals x times x.
Which really,
X
is this true? Does it matter what number x is?
No.
X equals x.
So that's when we use our ARN notation, right? For any real number. Yeah, but that does not hold true for odd powers. So you're right. Whenever we square something, it's positive. You're right. But odd powers, like x cubed, does not happen.
Wouldn't that be
So,
Doing more?
you got 3 minutes. Let's see how good you are. Okay, 5 minutes. I always forget when this class actually ends. Let's see how good you are. Here, I'll rewrite them so they're a little bigger. Hey, at least get these all written down so we can start with these tomorrow. At least get these all written down so we can start tomorrow on this.
Oh, Patrick said,
Guys, I know, like, I always encourage you to do your homework and, like, not just copy answers when I put it on the board. But solving equations is one of those math skills that you only get good at by practicing and making mistakes. Making mistakes is a good thing. I pointed out the common trapdoors, but you're going to make your own mistakes, and that's fine. But if you don't practice this, you are not going to get more comfortable. So those of us that are saying the bad word and starting to feel like this is not a difficult task, it's because you've had enough practice with it. There is no I'm smarter than you. It's about practice. Seriously, intelligence, it's not about who's better at math. It's who practiced harder. It's what it comes down to in sports. It's what it comes down to in a lot of things. It's all about how much effort will you put in. You gotta practice doing this skill. And it's okay if you get the answer wrong, because then we can investigate what happened. And as people have been coming to do revisions with me, it's actually kind of fun when you realize, like, oh, it was right there. I see it now. Yeah, it's like, because then I am on, I'm sure you guys have heard about Facebook being in the news and everything, but I like Reddit, and it's just this like forum website, and I'm on Reddit math pages and like Reddit facepalm. The moments where I have learned the most is when the moment starts with me just like face palming and saying like, I'm an idiot. Now don't call yourself an idiot, but like, I have made so many mistakes doing math. It's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. It's gonna start to get a little tough, and that's fine. Alright, have a great day, guys. I gotta let you go. I mean, Mrs. Goldring will come and, like, trust me, I do have to.